Okay, I'm live again, working, seeing if the sound works. My husband's helping me test it. Can you hear me? I am live on YouTube. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna just keep going, and it's like 15 minutes late. Okay, thanks. Bye. Okay. All right. I think I fixed the sound. We're supposed to go 15 minutes ago, but here I am. Try it again. So interesting, always interesting when there's tech breakdown. I'm very new to YouTube, and we're working to reach more people. You can find me on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook, and now you can find me on YouTube. So if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to this video. Okay, so let's talk about moving through grief. That's where I started about 15 minutes ago when we actually had live people on here, and then no one could hear me. So this weekend, we lost someone in our family that we were really close to, and it really hit me hard. When I was younger, I had lost both of my parents by the time I was 5 years old, and it was like big T trauma. Like you've heard that, little T trauma, big T trauma. This was big T trauma, heartbreak on such a deep level. But so I'm very familiar with grief, and this is, I feel a lot of grief with this death, and it's interesting because if I'm really honest, I don't know if I'm desensitized to people to death. I don't think that's it, but I've had, other family members pass away, friends pass away, and I feel sad. Like I do, I feel sad, but I haven't felt like that deep grief in a while, but I feel that from this person that died unexpectedly this weekend. And I lived in deep griefs for so long because of my parents, like so long. But I want to talk about the energy of grief. So, grief as an energy is very beautiful and very, very profound. And I'm going to put my hands like this, like thinking that grief is like let's think of it as like a ball. Like grief is a ball of energy, and grief is a human emotion, is quite profound and is quite beautiful. And many cultures have created space. So if someone passes, they can go into meditation for 7 days, or they can go for, take time off work for 30 days and really just grieve, and really, really just grieve. And it's in the United States, we don't, a lot of times don't have that luxury. People lose someone, they get to take 3 days off, a week max, and then they're back to work, and you're in the grind again, but still holding this energy of grief. But if we allow ourselves to move through the grief and to feel what the grief is teaching us and showing us, it's very beautiful and quite profound. And for a long time, I didn't really want to lose the grief of my dad. My dad died when I was 5, and I didn't want, it felt like the grief connected me to him. And once the grief released, I didn't feel as connected to him. And I was also ready to not feel as connected to him. So grief can also hold the memories and keep us feeling really, really connected to the person that passed on. But here is where you want to be super careful with grief. What people often do is they grieve, but then they're not just grieving the thing that happened. What they're grieving is everything else that it triggered as well. So you have the grief, but then they're also grieving. Then it brings up so much other stuff. It like brings in a wave of remembering this person, remembering when this happened, and remembering. And that's when people can tend to get in trouble and start staying in the frequency of grief and drawing on the past instead of really, and it takes practice, and it takes mindfulness, and it takes consciousness instead of just staying with what is. So my practice this weekend has been staying with what is. I'm not grieving my dad anymore. I am not grieving my mom anymore. I'm grieving the loss of this particular person and honoring that energy. And so the next time you have something in your life, and you're human, we have losses, we have gains, we have this is the human journey, and we can't avoid it. But the next time you're in something where you're actively feeling grief, be really mindful and practice not going back into here's the grief, but then opening up the floodgates of the past, because that's when people go into darker and darker and darker and darker places, right? Like it could be, I'll just keep using myself as an example. Like this death could, it could open up, oh, and then I lost my sister, and then I lost my mom, and I don't have any family. And I could really, really go into, if I chose to, an even deeper place of grief, in a deep place of self-pity and loss, instead of honoring what is and being present with what is. And I understand that it is easier said than done. Like I fully understand that. But if we can honor it and stay in the present and not open up a floodgates or the Rolodex of the past, you will move through the grief a lot easier and with a lot more grace, and you'll be able to feel why grief was created in humans and to begin with. There's something very profound and deep about it. There's something, like I said, quite beautiful, exquisitely beautiful, like painfully beautiful. And it's a way to honor people. But it's the way we get in trouble and go into darker and darker places is when we open the floodgates of the past and start using the event that happened as a way to get even more sad and grieve other things that we've already moved through. So the next time you're going through grief, even with a pets, pets, anything, like people that don't have pets don't understand that they bring up just as much grief as losing a human, sometimes even more. I've known people who have taken years grieving the loss of a pet. So be really gentle with yourself and know that grief is designed in a very beautiful way it's a very human, and that's what makes humans so beautiful. We feel, but we don't want to be run by our emotions. That's the thing. We feel it, but we want to be in control of it. We want to feel it, but not let it run us. But it's really what sets us apart as a species, is our ability to feel. So if you are grieving out there and you watch this video, I'm sending you lots of love. Be gentle with yourself. Take time for yourself. Try not to distract with social media, TV. It does not help. You can dissociate in the moment, but in the long run, it doesn't help. And having the courage to sit with it moment to moment, and you will move through it much more quickly. All right. My name is Beth Osmer, and I will see you next time.